Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. It's going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. So today we're going to do a video on epics, which do not need books to be very cool in this game. Books are probably the hardest commodity to come by, especially epic books. And there's tons of epics out there that should have books. I'm going to go through my top 10 epics, which will still be really cool for your account, even if you don't put books into them. Let's get into this. So epics actually are really strong in this game. The more I play around with new champions and old champions, the more I realise that epics can be insanely good. Let's get into some epics then that don't really need books to be successful. And we're going to start in the Undead, and we're going to kick into Seeker. Seeker is one of the best speed champions for the arena in the game. Fact. One of the best. He will be a better speed lead, or better speed booster, sorry, for you than Apothecary, than High Katoon, than even somebody like an Arbiter if you've got a different leader. Okay? Why is that? So, firstly, he does the full 30% turn meter boost, and he puts increased attack on your allies at the same time. Plus, he gets an extra turn. So you get the full 30% benefit from him. He gets an extra turn, and then with his extra turn, he's got this chance to provoke. Now, I don't feel like you need to book this down in the arena. If you're not nuking people down in one turn, then using Seeker's probably not the right champion for your team. So you don't need the cooldown here. His passive doesn't need a cooldown at all. You obviously don't have cooldown here. The only place where potentially you gain some benefit in books is here, where he goes in and provokes an enemy with a higher percentage to provoke. But I think, what do you use him for? You use him to boost your turn meter and get yourself ahead. He's got high base stats, and I think he doesn't need books to be successful in this game. Books are a luxury on this champion, not a necessity. So I think if you've got a Seeker, throw him into your team, even unbooked if you are kind of mid-game. Next one I'm going to go into is actually one of the best champions in the game, let alone epics, in the whole game. Wrong faction. It is going to be Miscreated Monster. Miscreated Monster, I've got a guide on this guy. He is a beast of a champion. Anytime I do an account takeover, I'm looking for this fella because he is insane. Now, why do I say he doesn't need books? So his A1, he gets a bit of a debuff improvement, but actually the stun's a luxury in this champ. The stun on his A1's a luxury. It's not why you're using him, okay? You're pretty much using him for this move here. Attacks all enemies, 50% chance to stun. Booking him up does not improve that chance to stun. The stun's always going to be the same. You get a little bit more damage. I wouldn't worry about that. The cooldowns are nice to have. It's not a necessity. And the shield is insane. So I would say use this guy whether you've got books in him or not. He is insane either way. If I'm going into an account takeover, he is one of the first people I'm looking for because he makes my job tons easier, booked or not. Books here have reduced cooldown on this. Again, it's a nice to have. It's not a necessity. Normally, you can get through content just by using this when it's required. I'd say the only time where I probably wouldn't use him, unless this is booked, is probably Clan Boss. Otherwise, crack on and use him anyway. This already kicks in. The reason why I say you don't need to book this one down necessarily is because it already goes up for 3 turns. 3 turns is a massive amount of time in this game. And the heals for 3 turns as well. So for me, it's not a necessity. It's a nice to have. This is nice, but not a necessity as well. Already a beast without books. Miscreated Monster. Let's go into another, actually quite a new champion in the game. Stag Night. Stag Night is insane in this game. Anyone who got him through the Battle Pass recently, congratulations, you've got yourself a brilliant champ. So he doesn't have any book on his passive. That kicks in straight away anyway, which is nice. He has got a decreased speed on his A1. Yes, you get a bit more debuff chance if you book him. You don't need it. You do not need that to be booked. His main ability is going to be his A2. Attacks all enemies, decreases their defense and attack. Now, if you book it, you get a slightly higher percentage chance to land, but it already comes with 70% chance to land decreased defense and a 50% chance to land decreased attack. It needs a lot of books to make this better. I would say he's already in a solid position to use him without books. Don't feel like you need books to use this guy. He's got brilliant base speed, brilliant base stats. I would use him whether I've got books him or not. Absolutely one of the best epics in the game with or without books. So let's go into another one then. My number 4 is going to be, I've talked about this champion quite a lot over the time that I played this game, but Mausoleum Mage. Mausoleum Mage is one of the best utility champions in the game. Even better if you pair him with defensive-based champions. If you pair him with defense-based champions, he's a beast because of this move here. Increased crit rate, increased defense, and block debuffs. He's an arena god. He's a dungeon god. He's great in the clan boss as well. Again, I've got a guide on this guy. You should check it out if you're unsure on him. He is insanely good in this game. I still use him for a lot of content in the end game. Really good epic. You don't need to book this A1. In fact, you'd rather you probably didn't book it. It's just a waste of books here. A little bit more damage. He's not there for damage, and he won't do the A1 that often. You'll get a little bit of a better chance to place decreased speed, but you probably won't build him with high accuracy anyway because it's a waste. So for me, no books here. If I was being picky, maybe I'd love for one book to fall here just so I get this down more often. But if you're using him where he should be used, which is pretty much the arena and dungeons, 4-turn cooldown is adequate for this skill. So I wouldn't necessarily feel like you need to book this. You can absolutely throw this out there and he's fine as he is. And then the final ability here is a kind of nice to have, removal debuffs and allies. Would you like to get books into this? It's helpful, but you don't need it. I would absolutely use this guy, whether he's got books in him or not. He's a legend, whether he needs them or not. So that's Mausoleum Mage. Let's get into someone who's a bit more of a DPS champion. We have got Allure. Allure is a dark elf. Where is she? Allure. Allure, yeah. So I recently did a guide on Allure. She's been in part of my finite team. I didn't have her booked for that. Basically, all you gain from books on the A1 is more damage. Yeah, damage is nice, but it's definitely not something I would use books on. So she's basically an A1 that has got deals 50% of all of the inflicted damage to all enemies if you hit a crit. That doesn't change whether you put books in or not. You just get a little bit more damage. She's got an A2, attacks all enemies 3 times. Each critical hit heals this champion. The heal, all of that stuff doesn't scale with books. You get 1 more cooldown if you put books into this. You don't need it. It's already a great ability. In the arena, you won't use that twice. You'll only use it once. You won't have time to use it twice, so no books required there. And then on array 3, this, I guess, if I'm being picky, again, this would love a book. But to spend 5 books plus potentially another 4 plus another 4 to use this, I'd say no. Again, in the arena, you won't get to use this twice anyway. In Fire Knights, you kind of use it at the right time to get your reduced turn meter on the boss. So for me, without books, Allure is still insanely good. So let's get into a Knight Revenant. One of the best epics in the game. Probably one of the most sought after. She is Void, which makes her more difficult to get. But Skull Crown is insane in this game. Insane for the arena. An insane campaign farmer. Great for dungeons. So all she gains is damage on her A1. She gains damage and a bit of debuff chance on her A2. But I don't feel like it's needed. She is already an absolute beast of a champion with or without books. She gets unkillable cooldown. The chances of using this twice anywhere in the game is pretty much 0. Maybe in like high-end faction wars. But for me, just the fact that she's got it on there. A main aim or a main purpose is the arena. You'll never use this twice in the arena, guys. So booking this is a waste of books. This one here, even longer, even less likely you're ever going to use it twice. And that's based on the fact that whether you got Sinacia or not. So for me, not worth putting books into her. She is already a legend and a beast without books. Let's go into the Demon Spawn. Demon Spawn, unfortunately this is going to be another Void, but a classic Void at that. Umbral Enchantress. She is insane in this game. Again, I've got a guide out on her. I use her a lot still in the arena, even at endgame. So what does she gain from books? A bit more damage, we don't care about that. If I'm going to use books, I'm using books to either improve a debuff chance or to reduce cooldowns. Forget just booking for damage, guys. It is a waste of your books. This one here, already an 80% chance to land block buffs for 3 turns without books. 80% is good enough, guys, for 99% of content in this game. So I would not put more books into this. And then the A3, again, already an 80% chance to land provoke on everybody for 2 turns. It's a huge chance. Would you like 100? Yeah, 100 is always going to help, but I don't feel like you need books for this champion to be effective. She's already a beast in this game. So the next one then, this one is a really underrated champion. Back into the Night Revenants, we're going to pick out Doom Priest. So Doom Priest, one of the most underrated epics in the game. She is actually insane. So anyone who is struggling with Spirit Affinity Clan Boss, Doom Priest is your answer. Now, Array 1, you'll get a bit more damage on. You don't need books for that. And A2, you'll get some reduced cooldown. This isn't even really what she's mainly about. This is helpful, I guess, to push out a bit more damage if you're using her in Clan Boss or in Arena or what have you. She already comes with a speed in all battles on her aura, which is cool. And then the main thing you use her for is this ability here. So a passive heals all allies by 7.5% of their HP, and she removes a random debuff from them at the start of this champion's turn. So if you've got her moving quickly, she recycles that often and often and often. She's always basically removing the debuff. Think about Clan Boss where you get stunned or where you get debuffs like reduced speed. As soon as she goes, she removes that debuff. So if she's the fastest in your team on Clan Boss, she's going to remove the debuff before it has a chance to take effect. That's why she's so good. And you do not need books to make this any better. She is already brilliant with or without books. 2 more then. So we're going to go to the Undead next. And we're going to talk about Zealot, another really underrated champion. Really good. If you don't have someone like a Creighton Monster and you're struggling with Spider, Zealotar's your man. If you need a carry to help you through dungeon content, Zealotar can step in. Very high base HP. I personally like him in a shield set because he's able to spread that shield set across your team. But the main reason you have him in your team is for this. Armoured Scales. 4-turn cooldown. You don't gain any cooldown. You don't gain any kind of chance to buff or anything like that. It's all synced in. So on a 4-turn cooldown, he places a shield buff on all allies equal to 20% of this champion's max HP. Really solid skill. He also places a continuous heal, the big version, on all allies for 2 turns. Very solid as well. So that shield buff is what you want him for. You do not need to put books into him for that. And he actually takes a lot of books, all in all. So if you're just booking for this, you might waste an additional, 10 books? It's loads of books. You don't need it. The A3 has already got a 50% chance of landing asleep. And that goes up already to 75% chance against enemies under some other sort of debuff. I wouldn't put books into this. Sleep's probably the weakest debuff anyway. I wouldn't go out of my way to try and book this up. He's all about this skill and it doesn't need books. So we're going to come to my last champion then. Again, one of the best champions in the game for certain content. We're going to go to Allure. So Allure is insane because of Array 1. She's quite hard to build actually, but once you've got it built right, she can do so much work for you. Fire Knights, Faction Wars, any dungeon really where you can reduce turn meter, Spider even. So what's she used for? Mainly this. Attacks 3 times at random, decreases the target's turn meter by 25%. Every time she gets a crit. All you need for her to work is accuracy, speed, and crit. And you need to keep her alive. You don't need any of the other skills booked up. You don't need this skill booked up. It happens anyway, guys. You don't even need her to hit hard. She just needs to hit. So I would put 0 books into Allure and be absolutely happy with it. The other skills, decreased defense, it's a small version anyway. The chance of you needing her for this is slim. If you do use her for this, she's got a 30% chance. It only books up to 50 anyway. She's not ideal to place this skill anyway. Places asleep as well, same sort of thing. Sleep's pretty weak, so I wouldn't be putting any books into this. The final ability, you gain a little bit more damage. It's a slim amount of damage. I would not put books into this, and this does not need books. Allure is fine as she is. Run her without books, and you will do absolutely fine, guys. So that is it. That's my top 10 epics that I would not use books for and still happily use all the way through to end game. Hope that's helpful, guys. I know books are tough to get in this game. Leave me a comment below if you want more videos similar to this. Otherwise, I'll catch you in a video soon. I've been Hell Hades. I'll check you later.